Hey everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Gustavo Franco podcast. Today, we'll be trying something a little different. I'll be recording an episode on January 2024 healthcare news. We'll cover everything from market performance to public policy and advancements in science. We start the episode with a market overview and delve into major healthcare market moves, talking about interesting acquisitions and more. We then discuss all things pharmaceuticals, from new drug development to new regulations and the competitive landscape of weight loss drugs. Then we talk about the Medtech and Biotech sectors, where we focus on the new fascinating innovations, but also roadblocks that these companies are facing. And of course, we talk about Musk's newest developments with Neuralink. Lastly, we turn to general public health news and other healthcare news. These are filled with headlines from the past month on abortion, national health data security, and even some international problems. I've divided this episode into neat sections for you to hop around easily. Just check the timestamps on the episode description or the chapter markers. And before we get into it, this is my first time trying this out. So please reach out and comment below what you would like to see differently on the next healthcare news episode. Should I make it shorter? Or should I record a separate shorter version of this episode that doesn't go into nearly as much detail? Let me know your thoughts and if there are any areas of healthcare that you think I missed and you would want to see on the next healthcare news episode. You are now listening to the Gustavo Franco podcast, where we challenge the norms and uncover the truths of our healthcare system. I'm your host, Gustavo Franco. Let's kick things off with a brief overview of market performance. The healthcare sector performed well this month, with a year-to-date return of 1.59% as of January 31st, right on par with the S&P 500 year-to-date return of 1.59% as well. The sector, however, has historically underperformed the S&P 500, so this was pretty good news for healthcare. Breaking down into its industries, we see that medical distribution led the healthcare sector, with a year-to-date return of 9.01%, led by successful returns from McKesson, Cencora, and Cardinal Health. Drug manufacturers also did very well, with a 5.28% year-to-date return in the industry. Eli Lilly, Merck, Amgen, and AbbVie all had very successful months. The medical devices, medical care facilities, and medical instruments and supplies industries all performed very well too. Notably, pharmaceutical retailers, heavily led by Walgreens, had a rough start, with negative 12.8% year-to-date returns. Healthcare plans also had a rough start, with negative 2.79% year-to-date returns. This was led by United Healthcare and CVS, both having poor months. Humana also contributed to this, with close to negative 18% returns. Notably, Oscar Health, a relatively new and innovative health insurance plan, had an amazing start to the year, with their stock soaring up by 36.8%. Biotech is also down 4.6% this month. These trends give us a brief overview of how the market performed, and it all becomes clear when we consider market activity and industry news. So let's jump right into that. We've witnessed a surge in M&A activities within the healthcare sector. A prime example was a day where healthcare giants, including Merck, Boston Scientific, and Johnson & Johnson, announced deals totaling over $6.4 billion. These strategic acquisitions are aimed at strengthening their offerings in critical areas such as oncology, weight loss treatments, and specific targeted therapies, indicating a shift towards expanding and diversifying their product portfolios. GSK's acquisition of Aiolos Bio, an asthma drug developer, for up to $1.4 billion, signifies its commitment to enhancing its infectious diseases and cancer treatment pipeline. Contrarily, Eli Lilly has chosen a path of smaller, strategic acquisitions focusing on innovative, early-stage medical solutions rather than large-scale buyouts. They hope to avoid expensive deals and bidding wars. In the investment banking sector, Mike Gaito of JP Morgan predicts increased M&A activity across biopharma, biotech, and life sciences, particularly in areas addressing cardiovascular, metabolic diseases, and central nervous system disorders. Furthermore, Novo Holdings, backing Novo Nordisk, plans to channel profits from its successful drugs into strategic acquisitions and investments in Asia, tapping into the burgeoning healthcare demand in the region. This reflects a broader trend of global expansion within the healthcare industry. Lastly, CVC Capital Partners' acquisition of Sunday Natural for 800 million euros underscores the increasing investment interest in health and nutrition products, aligning with a consumer trend towards more health-focused products. These developments collectively paint a picture of an industry in transformation, seeking growth and innovation through strategic acquisitions and investments. In January 2024, the healthcare sector also witnessed notable IPO activities. CG Oncology, a biotech firm specializing in cancer treatments, had a remarkable market debut with its shares surging 96% post-IPO, signaling strong investor interest in innovative cancer therapies. Conversely, BrightSpring Health, a KKR-backed home and community health services provider, priced its IPO below the expected range, raising $693 million, which still marks a significant milestone in healthcare. Additionally, American Healthcare REIT aimed to secure $700 million in its IPO, showcasing the growing interest in healthcare real estate investments. Bain-backed Zalys, a healthcare payments firm, considered a sale or IPO at a valuation over $15 billion, reflecting the rising value in healthcare and financial services. These diverse IPOs highlight the dynamic nature and investor confidence in the healthcare industry. The GLP-1 market in January 2024 has seen significant growth and competition, especially between Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk. Eli Lilly's Mounjaro and Zepbound have propelled its valuation, with Zepbound expected to be a leading drug in weight loss, potentially making Lilly the first trillion-dollar drug company. This has notably increased the Lilly endowment's assets. Novo Nordisk's Ozempic and Wegovy continue to dominate the market, with high demand driving the company's success. The rivalry between these two companies is a century old. This competition has fueled interest in the broader pharmaceutical industry, with other companies exploring similar treatments, recognizing obesity as a treatable condition. Some key financial aspects include Lilly's stock soared by almost 60% last year, boosting the Lilly's endowment's assets to approximately $60 billion. Their stock continued to climb in January, going up almost 11% this month alone. Novo's Ozempic and Wegovy generated an estimated revenue of $33 billion so far. Zepbound has the potential to bring $70 billion by 2030. This GLP-1 market surge impacts other sectors, such as weight management services like Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers, a key player in weight management, experienced a notable decline. This was triggered by Eli Lilly's launch of LillyDirect, a digital healthcare platform facilitating direct delivery of weight loss drugs. This move positioned pharmaceutical manufacturers as direct competitors to traditional weight management services, impacting Weight Watchers' stock value and market standing. Roche, a Swiss pharmaceutical giant, is intensifying its focus on the obesity market following its acquisition of Carbadox Therapeutics. The company is actively seeking additional partnerships to bolster its position against the leading weight loss drug pharmaceuticals like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. Roche's strategy involves exploring new metabolic treatments that could complement its portfolio, aiming to open new avenues in obesity treatment. This move signifies Roche's commitment to expanding its presence in a competitive sector while diversifying its pipeline beyond its traditional areas of oncology, neurology, and ophthalmology. Jumping to some other pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer aims to rebound from a challenging 2023 by focusing on the competitive cancer drug market, particularly after acquiring Seagen. Despite a 42% decline in shares and skepticism around management decisions, CEO Albert Bourla is optimistic, citing Pfizer's low share price as a temporary anomaly. The company plans to grow its dividend in 2024 without pursuing significant acquisitions. Challenges include competitive threats in vaccine and uncertainty in the weight loss pill market, but Pfizer sees potential for growth in cancer treatments through Seagen's antibody-drug conjugates. Now we turn to Moderna. Moderna reported $6.7 billion in sales in 2023, slightly above analyst expectations, with a 48% U.S. market share for its COVID vaccines. Despite this, the company predicts a significant revenue drop to about $4 billion in 2024, with a rebound expected for 2025. Moderna is refocusing on its R&D pipeline, including potential treatments for flu, RSV, cancer, and other diseases, leveraging its mRNA technology. Key upcoming milestones include results from studies on a new COVID vaccine and combination flu-COVID vaccine. Now let's look at the drug retailers that we talked about earlier. Walgreens is facing a challenging period with its share value plummeting following a significant dividend cut to 25 cents. The company's CEO has signaled an openness to exploring all strategic options, indicating potential for further changes. Amid this downturn, Walgreens is also considering the sale of Shields Health Solutions, a specialty pharmacy business if fully acquired over a series of transactions. This potential sale, which could value Shields Health at over $4 billion, marks a stark shift from previous expansion efforts into healthcare services. This move is part of Walgreens' broader strategy to address its high debt values and improve financial stability in a difficult consumer environment. Some drugstore chains, including Rite Aid, have been closing thousands of stores, with Rite Aid even filing for bankruptcy. This reflects long-term struggles in the retail pharmacy industry, exacerbated by competition, high debt loans, and legal battles related to the opioid crisis. A significant portion of drugstore revenue comes from filing prescriptions, but profits from this segment have declined due to lower reimbursement rates for prescription drugs. Additionally, the front end of the stores, which sells non-pharmacy items, faces pressure from rising competition, including from online retailers like Amazon and big box stores. This is also connected to the rising cost of pharmaceuticals. Prescription drugs are more expensive in 2024 due to several factors, including annual price increases by pharmaceutical companies, inflation, and supply chain concerns. At the start of 2024, 453 branded drugs saw an increase in cost, which is part of a pattern where drug makers often raise prices at the beginning of the year. This year's increase were by a median of 4.5%, higher than the rate of inflation, affecting a wide range of medications from asthma to shingles vaccines and cancer treatments and diabetes medications. One reason for these increases is that January coincides with when insurance plans turn over, leading to a spike in drug pricing changes. Although drug pricing strategy is often opaque and can seem arbitrary, factors like inflation and supply chain issues across the Middle East are cited by drug makers. However, the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 has introduced more regulation, capping how much drug makers can increase prices for people on Medicare, limiting increases to the rate of inflation. The impact of this was also significant on health insurance providers. Health insurance stocks dipped this month due to CVS's announcement of higher-than-expected medical costs, influencing market perceptions of increased healthcare expenses across the sector. United Health Group also reported a rise in medical costs, particularly in its Medicare business, contributing to the sector's downturn. Investors are concerned that the industry may have underestimated post-COVID healthcare demand, affecting their profitability. United Health's medical loss ratio exceeded expectations, indicating a higher proportion of premiums being spent on medical claims, further worrying investors about the financial health of insurance companies. Now, turning to not-for-profit hospitals, they face more credit rating downgrades, according to Fitch Ratings. Despite some recovery from the pandemic's impact, the sector is challenged by labor shortages and insufficient operating margins. Hospitals are slowly improving, but still not at a pace that allows for significant reinvestment and savings. The labor market remains a critical issue, with shortages not only in nursing, but also in essential staff positions. Downgrades are expected to continue, though possibly at a lower rate than the previous year's 3-to-1 ratio of downgrades to upgrades. Now let's dive into all the healthcare news of 2024 surrounding pharmaceuticals, making sense of the complex and often perplexing world of drug pricing, innovation, and regulation. We begin by addressing a burning question. Why are drugs in the US significantly more expensive compared to other developed countries? Insights from a New York Times article highlight 6 systemic factors contributing to this issue. Notably, the US lacks a centralized system for negotiating drug prices and controlling costs, unlike many of its international counterparts. This absence, coupled with perverse financial incentives throughout the healthcare system, a complex and fragmented market structure, and the absence of price controls, significantly drives up drug prices. Another major factor is patent gaming, a strategy where pharmaceutical companies secure multiple patents on slight variations of a drug to extend its monopoly, delaying generic competition and keeping prices high. This strategy often disconnects prices from the actual costs of drug development and production, with prices set based on what the market will bear rather than the valuation or value of the medication. When we turn to GLP-1 drugs again, state and local governments are facing financial challenges due to the soaring costs of GLP-1 medications like Ozempic and Wegovy, used to treat diabetes and obesity. With prices over $1,000 a month, these drugs place a significant burden on health plans and Medicaid budgets. Officials are responding with new eligibility criteria and cost control measures to manage expenses. But the dilemma of balancing the benefits of advanced medical treatments against their higher costs persists. While these medications offer the potential for long-term savings by reducing the need of expensive medical procedures, skepticism remains about whether these savings will truly offset their initial costs. In a landmark move for 2024, the US will begin negotiating drug prices for Medicare. This initiative, stemming from the Inflation Reduction Act, aims to significantly reduce costs by negotiating prices for 10 expensive drugs. Despite pharmaceutical industry litigation, these negotiations could save Medicare about $100 billion over the next decade, reflecting a major shift in drug pricing policy and potentially setting a precedent for future savings in healthcare costs. Following this, the FDA has authorized Florida to import medications from Canada, a significant step aimed at reducing drug prices. This policy shift could lead to substantial savings for Florida, estimated at up to $150 million for its first year, by importing drugs for conditions such as HIV, diabetes, and hepatitis C. However, this move faces challenges, including opposition from pharmaceutical companies and Canadian measures to protect their drug supply. Shifting focus to the intermediaries in the drug pricing saga, Congress is scrutinizing pharmacy benefit managers, PBMs. These middlemen negotiate drug discounts and manage formularies for insurers and employers, but have been criticized for practices that may inflate drug prices. For example, PBMs often retain a portion of the rebates they negotiate, potentially incentivizing them to favor more expensive drugs on their formularies. Efforts to reform these practices must proceed with caution to avoid creating new loopholes that could undermine efforts to lower costs for patients. Next, Eli Lilly is making waves with the introduction of LillyDirect, a digital platform that allows direct sales of its weight loss drugs to consumers. This innovative approach aims to reduce costs for patients by bypassing traditional distribution channels, promising easier access to affordability solutions and saving opportunities. This development addresses the pharmaceutical industry's traditional model by offering an alternative to the bundled services of companies like Ro and Noom. Amidst all these concerns about the off-label use of weight loss drugs, LillyDirect represents a significant shift towards direct patient engagement and cost reduction. In the realm of treatment innovation, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals is embarking on research to explore the combination of its antibody drugs with the obesity treatment Wegovy. This initiative aims to prevent muscle loss in older patients, a potential side effect of GLP-1 drugs like Wegovy and Eli Lilly's Zepbound. Ensuring that weight loss does not come at the expense of muscle mass is crucial for preventing injuries and maintaining health in this older demographic. In the next 50 years, obesity drugs are predicted to become a staple in global healthcare, with a significant portion of the population expected to use them, according to Adam Stansberg, CEO of Zealand Pharma. This Danish biotech is at the forefront of developing new weight loss therapies that could potentially outperform current leaders like Wegovy and Zepbound. With the obesity treatment market projected to hit $80 billion in sales by 2030, Zealand is exploring innovative approaches, including a drug that targets the amylin hormone for more natural satiety and fewer side effects. As Zealand awaits crucial trial data, the biotech sector watches closely, anticipating breakthroughs that could redefine obesity management and patient well-being. Artificial intelligence is also marking its territory, promising to revolutionize the process by identifying potential treatments faster than traditional research methods. Genentech has been using AI to expedite the testing of an experimental drug for ulcerative colitis, from concept to clinical trial in just 9 months. This is part of a wider industry trend, with pharmaceutical giants like Genentech's parent company, Roche, investing in AI tools like Roche GPT to not only speed up the drug development process, but also to delve into complex scientific questions previously deemed unsolvable. The influx of AI-first biotech companies, drawing an $18 billion investment over the last decade, alongside NVIDIA's push to redesign drugs almost entirely in simulation, underscores the high stakes and high hopes pinned on AI's role in future medicine. However, the enthusiasm for AI in pharmaceuticals is tempered by the technology's nascent stage in proving its clinical efficacy over human-led research. While AI offers the potential to dramatically reduce the time and cost associated with bringing drug candidates to human testing, the real measure of success will lie in the clinical outcomes. Companies like Novo Nordisk and industry leaders at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference highlight the balance between leveraging AI for speed and innovation and the indispensable human judgment in final drug approval processes. As AI continues to carve out its niche in drug development, the pharmaceutical industry remains cautiously optimistic, navigating the promise of AI with a clear-eyed view of its current limitations and the uncharted territories it has yet to conquer. Now for some legal news in the area, Johnson & Johnson has reached a significant settlement agreeing to pay around $700 million to settle investigations into its marketing of talc-based baby powder over cancer risk allegations. This settlement exceeds the company's initial $400 million reserve for such claims and marks a conclusion to a decade of litigation. It reflects J&J's efforts to manage the fallout from claims about its baby powder's health risks. However, lawsuits by Mississippi and New Mexico seeking separate settlements are not included in this agreement. Moving on, the FDA is moving to ban Carbadox, an antibiotic used in pigs due to carcinogenic residue concerns. Despite its widespread use since 1972, the drug's safety has been questioned, leading to its ban in Europe and Canada. The FDA's strategy to revoke the testing method of Carbadox residues aims to simplify the process of banning the drug, reflecting a push towards safer food sources, despite resistance from Phibro Animal Health Corp., the drug's manufacturer. Now onto a section that kind of clashes between pharmaceuticals and public health. Cytisine, a plant-based smoking cessation aid, is set to make its debut in the UK. Used in Eastern Europe since the 1960s, Cytisine has proven to be twice as effective as a placebo in helping smokers quit. Despite its effectiveness, global success has been limited by the high costs of clinical trials. The introduction of Cytisine in the UK, where smoking costs the economy billions annually, marks a significant step towards addressing preventable deaths caused by smoking. In the US, to address the syphilis drug shortage amid rising cases, the FDA has temporarily authorized the importation of an alternate form of penicillin G benzathine from laboratories Delbert in France. This move responds to the shortage of Pfizer's Bacillin LA, the standard treatment for syphilis, as the CDC reports the highest syphilis rates since the 1990s. Syphilis cases have reached the highest levels since 1950. In 2022, there were 207,000 cases, whereas 2 decades ago, the number of annual cases was just above 30,000. In the realm of COVID-19 treatment, there's noteworthy news about Paxlovid, a medication that combines 2 drugs to effectively prevent severe COVID-19 in high-risk individuals, reducing risk of death by 73%. It's recommended for people over 12 with conditions like obesity or asthma and anyone over 50. Despite its effectiveness, only 15% of those eligible are taking it. The low uptake amidst continuing COVID-19 deaths raises questions. Factors such as drug interactions, fear of rebound symptoms, and regional variations in acceptance play a role. A study by the NIH suggests widespread use of Paxlovid could have prevented tens of thousands of deaths, highlighting the need for better education and accessibility. That wraps up our comprehensive look at the pharmaceutical news for January 2024. Stay tuned for more updates and insights in the healthcare sector. And now let's dive into all the healthcare news of 2024, focusing on the latest developments in Medtech and Biotech that are shaping the future of healthcare. At the forefront of industry news, Royal Philips has made headlines with its recent announcement to suspend sales of sleep apnea devices and ventilators in the US. This move follows a consent decree with the FDA, a response to health risks identified with the disintegration of noise-dampening foam within these devices. The decision marks a significant development for Philips, which had previously initiated a recall of about 5.5 million sleep apnea devices 2 years ago due to these concerns. The company has allocated $393 million for the settlement related to this issue, with the anticipation of additional costs looming on the horizon. Despite resolving some litigation for $479 million and setting aside around 1 billion euros to address the recall, Philips faces a multitude of lawsuits and an eye-opening investigation by the U.S. Department of Justice. Analysts believe that they may end up having to pay between $2 and $4.5 billion to settle personal injury claims. CEO Roy Jacobs has defended the safety of the devices based on extensive testing, although the FDA has expressed reservations about the adequacy of these analyses. As Philips works to meet the conditions set by the consent decree, which is still pending court approval, the company's financial outlook and market value have been significantly impacted, being halved since recall's initiation in June 2021. Nevertheless, Philips largest shareholder, Akouos, remains confident in the company's long-term strategy to overcome these challenges. In a groundbreaking stride towards addressing congenital deafness, an experimental gene therapy developed by Akouos, a subsidiary of Eli Lilly, has enabled an 11-year-old boy named Isam Dom to hear for the first time. This innovative treatment targets the root cause of Dom's congenital hearing loss by correcting a mutation that affects the production of the otofurlin protein, essential for the transmission of sound signals from the ear's hairs to the brain. This success story not only highlights the potential of gene therapy to address the underlying causes of hearing loss, but also eliminates the challenges ahead. While this therapy currently only benefits those with a very rare form of congenital hearing loss, where the ear structure is intact but unable to send sound signals to the brain, it represents a significant step forward. The gene therapy, administered directly into Dem's inner ear through a specialized procedure, showcases notable progress in gene therapy delivery methods. However, experts emphasize the importance of early intervention, particularly within the first 3 years of life, to support effective language development. This breakthrough, along similar advancements from researchers at the Eye and ENT Hospital of Fudan University and Refresh Gene Therapeutics, suggests promising directions for future treatments. Samsung Electronics is advancing the health technology landscape with its development of non-invasive glucose monitors and continuous blood pressure checking technologies, positioning itself as a formidable competitor to Apple and other tech giants. Under the leadership of executive Han Pak, Samsung aims to integrate advanced health tracking across various devices, including the newly announced Galaxy Ring, to offer a holistic view of consumers' health. The introduction of these technologies, particularly the glucose monitoring that eliminates the need for invasive blood draws, could revolutionize diabetes care. The Galaxy Ring, targeting users seeking discrete health tracking solutions and set for release by the end of 2024, reflects Samsung's commitment to innovation in health technology. Furthermore, Samsung's exploration of mixed reality headsets for meditation and mental health applications highlights the potential of new platforms in enhancing personal health management. However, Apple's ambitions in health technology face potential obstacles due to ongoing patent disputes, particularly with Masimo over blood oxygen sensors. This litigation has compelled Apple to remove the blood oxygen sensing feature from its latest Apple Watch models, thereby affecting its market positioning and opening opportunities for competitors. Despite these challenges, Apple remains committed to developing advanced health features, including non-invasive glucose monitoring, hypertension, and sleep apnea detection. The dispute with Masimo not only underscores Apple's vulnerability to litigation in a densely patent field, but also the complexities involved in integrating new health technologies into consumer electronics. As Apple navigates these legal and technological hurdles, the path to introducing innovative health features may prove more challenging than anticipated. And alright folks, now buckle up because we're diving into something that feels straight out of a sci-fi movie. Elon Musk's Neuralink just made history. We're talking about the first ever human to receive a brain implant named telepathy. This isn't just any gadget, it's a game changer and a double-edged sword. The individual who's pioneering this journey with Neuralink is already showing promising signs of recovery. Imagine being able to control your phone, your computer, heck, almost any device just by thinking. That's what telepathy is all about. It's not just about turning the volume up on your playlist with a thought, even though that would be really cool. It's about opening up a whole new world for people who've lost the use of their limbs. We're talking about being able to help individuals like Stephen Hawking with their communication. But there's more to the story. Neuralink isn't just throwing a handful of electrodes into the mix. They're going all out with over 1,000 of electrodes. And get this, there's no clunky battery needed. Elon Musk, being Elon Musk, has his sights set high, aiming to get these implants into over 22,000 people by 2030. But as we all know, Musk has a knack for ambitious timelines. Remember when he set a goal to send an unmanned mission to Mars by 2010? Well, now let's talk about the internet because yes, this implant could potentially hook our brains directly to the web. And while that sounds like a dream come true for many multitaskers, it also begs the question, are we ready to live in a world where the line between thinking about doing something online and actually doing it is thinner than your smartphone? But here's the real kicker. This technology isn't just about surfing the web at the speed of thought. It's about revolutionizing the way we help individuals with paralysis, potentially giving them a level of independence and interaction we've only dreamed of. Yet, as we stand at the brink of this incredible leap forward, we're also reminded to tread carefully, because with great power also comes great responsibility, right? So as we wrap our heads around Neuralink's breakthrough, let's not forget to ponder the implications. It's a thrilling time to be alive, witnessing the boundaries between humans and technology blur. As we can see, 2024 is shaping up to be a pivotal year in Medtech and Biotech, with significant advancements, challenges, and litigation shaping the trajectory of personal health management. And now, let's move on to some of the biggest public health news of January 2024. First up, we've got a major cybersecurity breach that's shaken the US healthcare sector. Hackers managed to siphon off about $7.5 million in grant money from the US Department of Health and Human Services. The cyberattack, spanning several months, targeted the system that processes grant payments. Using spear phishing tactics, the hackers impersonated legitimate users and rerouted funds destined for rightful recipients. This incident not only highlights the escalating vulnerability of healthcare to cyber threats, but also the frustration within the Biden administration over initial delays in addressing these attacks. It's a stark reminder of the need for stronger cybersecurity measures in healthcare, with the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security now on the case, though the perpetrators are still at large. There's growing concern about foreign entities exploiting Americans' health data. The Biden administration is drafting an executive order to tighten the reins on sensitive, personal, and health-related information. This order, when unveiled, will instruct the U.S. Attorney General and the Department of Homeland Security to enforce new restrictions, particularly against countries deemed a threat to national security. The focus is on preventing the legal acquisition of health data, especially genetic information, through intermediaries or business deals. This move comes in the wake of warnings that countries like China have been amassing U.S. health data. The capacity of AI to analyze vast amount of data raises the stakes, making even de-identified genetic information potentially traceable. This development underlines the ongoing vulnerability of the health sector to cyberattacks and the critical need for an enhanced cybersecurity in an already stretched healthcare system. Switching gears to the UK, the National Health Service, NHS in England, is grappling with a historic crisis. Junior doctors have launched the longest strike in NHS history, protesting over pay disputes. This 6-day walkout, following 28 days of strikes last year, comes at a time when the NHS is already under severe strain from rising COVID and flu cases. This strike not only challenges Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's pledge to reduce hospital waiting lists, but also poses significant risks to patient safety. With around 7.7 million patients on waiting lists, the NHS is facing unprecedented pressures. The British Medical Association, representing the striking junior doctors, points to a 26% erosion in real pay since 2008. The government's response? Urging negotiations for a fair and balanced resolution to this ongoing dispute. Now back to the US, let's talk about abortion, a topic that remains at the forefront of public and legal discourses in January 2024. President Biden, marking the 51st anniversary of Roe v. Wade, highlighted the significance of upcoming elections in shaping abortion rights in America. Criticizing what he calls cruel restrictions on abortion access, Biden unveiled executive actions to enhance reproductive health care, including expanding access to free contraceptives under the Affordable Care Act and forming a team to enforce laws requiring hospitals to provide emergency abortions. These measures, in response to Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade, reinforce the Biden administration's commitment to protecting reproductive rights. Vice President Kamala Harris's multi-state tour further emphasizes this commitment, spotlighting the issue and advocating for federal legislation to codify abortion rights. In a pivotal legal movement, the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act from 1986 has become central to a Supreme Court abortion case. The debate centers on whether the act requires hospitals to perform abortions in urgent situations, especially when a woman's health is endangered by pregnancy. This case could influence the extent of restrictive state abortion laws and their impact on medical treatments, including gender-affirming care. Legal battles in Texas and Idaho are challenging the Biden administration's interpretation of the act, with significant implications for emergency medical care, including abortions, under federal law across the U.S. A disturbing consequence of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade is the rise in rape-related pregnancies, particularly in states with total abortion bans. A recent study estimates that nearly 65,000 pregnancies from rape have occurred in the 14 states with total abortion bans since the ruling. The study, based on data from the CDC, DOJ, and FBI, reviews that rape-related pregnancies are more common than public perception suggests. The legal barriers in these states, including short windows for legal abortion and the requirement for police reports, have profound impacts on survivors, leading to severe physical, mental, and socioeconomic hardships. This situation starkly contrasts public opinion, where a majority believes rape survivors should have access to abortion. In the face of these challenges, many women, particularly in states with restrictive abortion access, are proactively ordering abortion pills for potential future use. This practice of advance provision has seen a substantial increase, with tens of thousands of women requesting pills from organizations like Aid Access. This trend, particularly following legal challenges to mifepristone's availability, highlights a proactive approach to personal health and choice amidst an uncertain legal landscape. These developments in January 2024 underscore the complex and evolving landscape of abortion rights in the U.S., reflecting legal battles, public opinion, and the personal decisions of individuals navigating this challenging terrain. Transitioning to another critical topic in public health, let's delve into the recent developments in Ohio regarding transgender rights. Governor Mike DeWine's recent actions have stirred controversy in the realm of transgender rights. Initially, DeWine vetoed a bill that would have restricted gender-affirming care for minors, a move that garnered praise from LGBTQ rights groups. However, this apparent support was short-lived. DeWine then signed an executive order imposing stringent restrictions on transgender healthcare, including a ban on surgeries for minors and additional hurdles for adult healthcare. This reversal of stance has placed Ohio among the states most hostile to transgender individuals. Following this, the Ohio House voted to override DeWine's veto, indicating the potential enactment of even more restrictive laws. This series of events marks a significant setback for transgender rights in Ohio, reflecting a broader trend of increasing legislative challenges for transgender equality nationwide. Shifting gears to bring you more captivating public health updates from January 2024, let's delve into some standalone stories that have made headlines this month. The NHL Players Association, in a pioneering move, has teamed up with the Mental Health Commission of Canada to roll out the First Line program. This innovative initiative, championed by players like Blake Wheeler, is dedicated to fostering mental health awareness among NHL athletes. It equips players with the tools to identify early warning signs of mental health issues, not only in themselves, but also in their teammates. First line also marks a significant cultural shift in the world of professional sports, especially post-pandemic, prioritizing mental well-being and prevention over traditional therapy methods. In another intriguing development, major tobacco companies, including Philip Morris International and British American Tobacco, are pivoting from conventional cigarettes to smoke-free nicotine alternatives. This strategic shift has sparked a heated debate in the public health community, with the UK endorsing vaping as a smoking cessation tool, but moving to outlaw disposable e-cigarettes. The health implications of these smoke-free products are under scrutiny. Questions linger over the impact of nicotine on young brains and the potential lung damage from vaping. This evolving scenario underscores the complex challenge of balancing public health interests against new trends in nicotine consumption. Turning our attention to a pressing health concern, the unexpected rise in early-onset colon cancer among Americans under 50 is setting off alarm bells. With colon cancer now leading cancer-related deaths among young men and ranking second for women, the medical community is scrambling to understand the underlying causes. Theories abound linking the trend to obesity, lifestyle changes, and dietary shifts, yet conclusive evidence remains elusive. This worrying trend underscores the urgency of lifestyle changes, awareness of symptoms, and the importance of early detection. Amidst the winter health landscape, RSV is increasingly capturing public attention, particularly affecting infants and the elderly. Mirroring symptoms of the flu and COVID-19, RSV's contagious nature and seasonal peak pose a significant health risk. Heightened social interactions post-pandemic and vigilant virus detection have contributed to the surge in cases, prompting warnings from health bodies like the CDC. With vaccines available for high-risk groups, including a monoclonal antibody for infants, the fight against RSV is intensifying. On a different note, a recent study has brought to light a disturbing disparity in the U.S. pediatric healthcare system. It reviews that non-white children consistently receive lower quality care compared to their white peers across various medical specialties. This disparity, rooted in systemic racial inequality, is exacerbated by factors such as restrictive immigration policies and segregated living conditions. This alarming trend calls for a collective effort to address and dismantle the deep-seated inequalities in our healthcare system. In a related healthcare concern, a JAMA study has highlighted a concerning practice: the premature initiation of dialysis treatments in certain regions. This trend, linked to an abundance of dialysis clinics, suggests that healthcare systems might be resorting to dialysis as a more manageable solution, overlooking the benefits of prolonged pre-dialysis care. This insight underscores the need for more balanced healthcare resource allocation, aiming to delay the onset of dialysis and improve patient outcomes instead of just focusing on preventing them with dialysis. Lastly, a study has brought to light the potential risks of exercise therapy for long COVID patients. Contrary to healthy individuals, long COVID patients undergoing high-intensity exercise experienced debilitating post-exertional malaise, PEM, a significant muscle damage. These findings challenge the conventional exercise prescriptions for long COVID patients, highlighting the need for healthcare professionals to approach exercise recommendations with caution, understanding the unique risks involved, especially in specific subset of patients. And finally, everyone, we now move on to the last section of healthcare news from January 2024. This section has other standalone pieces that I couldn't really characterize with any of the other sections that I just did. It also includes some international healthcare news, so let's jump right into it. Kicking things off, let's talk about a trend that's catching the eye of homebuyers and stirring debate among health enthusiasts: blue zones. These communities, designed around the principles of longevity and well-being, promise a lifestyle that could lead to healthier, longer lives. Born from research into regions where centenarians are a common sight, blue zones advocate for active living, plant-based eating, and strong social bonds. Yet, as this concept makes its way into real estate, questions arise about whether its implication is genuinely health-focused or simply a new angle in property marketing. This newly built tension between health advocacy and commercial interests underscores the complex relationship between our living environments and well-being. Switching gears, we delve into an opinion piece by Michael Bloomberg himself, who sheds light on a critical issue: the staffing crisis in America's healthcare system, now intensified by the pandemic and the demographic shift towards an aging population. By 2030, the demand for medical care will skyrocket as all baby boomers reach 65 and older. Facing about 2 million unfilled healthcare jobs, with another 2 million expected by 2031, the challenge is daunting. Bloomberg points out that the solution doesn't solely lie on the labor market. Many young adults ready to work right after high school find themselves at a crossroad due to the lack of preparation for these healthcare roles, which offer starting salaries as high as $70,000. To address this gap, Bloomberg highlights a forward-thinking initiative supported by Bloomberg Philanthropies, the creation of healthcare-focused high schools across 10 U.S. communities, serving nearly 6,000 students. Starting in 11th grade, these students will engage in paid partnerships with hospitals, marrying classroom learning with invaluable hands-on experience and professional mentorship. Upon graduation, these students have the opportunity to seamlessly transition into the workforce at partner health systems, with the promise of further education and career growth subsidized. This innovative model not only aims to tackle the healthcare staffing shortage, but also offers a blueprint for nurturing a new generation of healthcare professionals. Next up, Bill Gates shares his insights on tackling climate change through improved healthcare in developing countries. Gates emphasizes the interconnectedness between global health and environmental sustainability, arguing that increased health spending is crucial for addressing both humanitarian and climate challenges. This commitment is underscored by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's significant investment in healthcare technology and programs aimed at combating diseases and improving health outcomes worldwide. Gates' call for countries to dedicate a portion of their GDP to aid highlights the role of health expenditure in achieving a stable population growth and healthier planet. In the realm of mental health, technology is emerging as a lifeline for students facing barriers to traditional counseling services. With school services stretched thin, young people are increasingly seeking support through online platforms, peer-led programs, and even AI chatbots. This trend reflects a broader move towards digital solutions in mental health care, offering flexibility and anonymity, but also raising questions about the efficacy of virtual support. As educational institutions and policymakers grapple with these challenges, the integration of technology and mental health support for students underscores the evolving landscape of care in the digital age. Now let's talk about plastics, or microplastics. This might make you think twice about your next sip of water. Recent research has brought to light the presence of countless nanoparticles in plastic of bottled water, sparking concerns about potential health risks. While the impact of these nanoparticles on human health is still being explored, this discovery prompts us to consider our consumption habits and the broader issue of plastic pollution. As we navigate the uncertainties surrounding bottled water, this story serves as a reminder of the complex relationship between environmental health and our well-being. Now, let's talk a bit of international news. In South Africa, a country already grappling with a dire shortage of medical personnel in state-owned hospitals, more than 800 qualified doctors remain unemployed due to budgetary constraints. The South African Medical Association trade union, SAMATU, voices its frustration, pointing out the annual budget limitations that prevent the hiring of these essential medical professionals. This situation not only exacerbates the healthcare crisis, but also fuels the emigration of qualified doctors seeking opportunities abroad. Despite the pressing need for more medical staff, the Department of Health struggles to create job openings, attributing the shortage in part to lacking sufficient funding. This predicament starkly highlights the urgent need for sustainable solutions to utilize the invaluable skills of these medical professionals effectively, ensuring equitable access to healthcare for South Africa's population. Turning our attention to Colombia, we find the private health insurance sector to be on the brink of a financial crisis, prompted by the government's refusal to approve adequate revenue increases to match escalating costs. The government's resolution for a modest increase in the so-called UPC, which determines the state transfers to insurers per user, falls short of the industry's needs. ASEMI, representing private health insurers, criticizes this decision, stating it deepens the healthcare system's financial viability crisis. As President Gustavo Petro seeks to expand the state's role in the health system, the tension between government policies and the financial realities of health insurers underscores the complex interplay of economic, political, and healthcare priorities. These challenges in Colombia reflect the broader struggles within healthcare systems to balance quality care provision with financial sustainability, a theme resonant in many parts of the world. And that brings us to the end of this episode of January 2024 Healthcare News. From the bustling activity in the market to groundbreaking advancements in pharmaceuticals, Medtech, Biotech, and the tireless efforts to address public health concerns both nationally and internationally, it's been a month brimming with developments that shape the future of healthcare. Thank you for joining me on this comprehensive journey through January 2024's healthcare landscape. Your feedback is invaluable, so please do not hesitate to share your thoughts and suggestions for future episodes. I really want to get this content out to you guys in the best way possible. So please let me know what you thought of this episode. Together, we'll continue to explore the evolving world of healthcare, staying informed and engaged with the issues that matter most. And remember, the journey to better health and a deeper understanding of medical science is ongoing, and each of us plays a part in it. Stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay healthy. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Gustavo Franco podcast. We hope our exploration of the world of healthcare has been insightful and thought-provoking for you. The opinions expressed here are ours and of our guests, and should not be considered professional advice. This podcast is a collaborative learning experience for both the producers and listeners. While we strive to convey accurate and up-to-date information, we acknowledge that our research may have limitations. We encourage all of our listeners to supplement their knowledge by conducting their own research. If you enjoyed this episode and want to stay up to date on our future releases, make sure to subscribe or follow us on your preferred podcast platform and social media. We highly value your feedback, so please don't hesitate to reach out with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future topics. Together, we can foster a more educated America and contribute to a more effective healthcare future. Thank you for joining us on this healthcare exploration.